Hello everybody, this is General Yanis, and today in Chaos Tactics I'm going to be looking at the Death Guard Demon Engines and all the significant point reductions that have come from the new point updates. So analyzing what that means for the damage and the durability, and then comparing them to each other and some other units in the codex. So I've been quite busy with all these Abaddon rules, etc. So I was thinking just to go back to some of the basics here for the Death Guard, the vehicles. So today is the 8th of July. Been a long week. Almost people are on vacation soon at the workplace, so it's very hectic. But also an escalation crusade is starting up at my local game shop, and I'm thinking to take a Thousand Suns list. Let's see. So now I played so much Death Guard, I need to think about some other lists again. But again, as I said in this video, I will be focusing on the Death Guard, the Demon Engines that all got some nice point cuts, 10, 15 points across the board. So a Plague Scroller, 145, 155 points, is 145 points. That's really strong. So I'm going to be looking at a quick overview of each units and the uses and some of the combos there. There is a lot of detailed videos I've done for every unit here, so I will not be spending so much time on the stats, but just more overall here. And then looking at the point corrected damage output with the new points, comparing the durability, and then comparing them to each other overall, and some other units. Before I start, as always, big thanks to my patrons. Also, big thanks to my YouTube members and all of you subscribe to the channel and giving nice comments with feedback for the contents and everything. So I really appreciate all your comments. So let's look at the quick overview. So let's start with the point cost updates of these units. Now with the Nephilim points, the Foetid Bloatdrones all got a 15-point reduction. So now the Foetid Bloatdrone with the speeders is the cheapest Demon Engine, 115 points. The Foetid Blightholder down to 120 from 130. So that's also that's only 10 points, let's say, but that's quite good still. The Plague Scroller also really strong. They already had a quite hefty reduction in the knockdown points. Now we get 15 points lower, so 145 for the Entropy Cannons, 135 for the Speeders. The Defiler doesn't get any love from Games Workshop. It was already a bit struggling, and now since everything else goes down in cost, I expect to see even less Defilers on the table. The Land Raider goes down 20 points, but still it's quite expensive. And the Predators have been also a 15-point cut, but they were quite far off also before. So most of the fast attack and heavy support vehicles gotten a nice point cut, except for the Defiler. So the builds for the Demon Engines and what is really up in the Nephilim, let's say. We have the Plague Scroller with the Entropy Cannons and the Slugger Cannon for the hull-mounted weapon. That's a nice combo because they both Entropy and the Slugger have the same range, 36 inches. The Voligan could be better, but then you have different range profiles. It isn't really good, so I think it's better to combine them in this case. So this is 145 points, and this is basically our anti-tank long-range shooter. The Plague Scroller with the speeders at the side cannons and the volley gun that is better, let's say, a better combo. The speeders have only a 12-inch range. The volley gun has a 24-inch rapid fire. So at 12-inch, the volley gun is giving 6 shots, and we have 2d6 speeder shots, so we can really overwhelm infantry here. 135 points for this combination. So this is also really a cheap tank and very durable. This is the most durable Plague Scroller, of course, per point. And this is basically you have to be in assault range, and you can. It's not good in melee, but you can still overwatch and you can still point blank shoot your speeders and the volley gun. So the mortar overall with the Nephilim and the balanced data slates, the mortar shooting out of line of sight has been nerfed. You get -1 to hit, so hitting only on force if you can't see your target, and your opponent gets +1 to their save. If they also have Armor of Contempt, it's really, it's a poor choice to shoot at something you can't see. If you can see something, prioritize shooting that, unless there is a very important target you need to shoot out of line of sight. Overall, the Plague Scroller has some nice plague weapons for the fleeing vector. When you are trying to kill at least 7 models, the mortar, the entropy cannons, or the speeders can help you rack up the tally. 7 if you can kill 7 models per turn, you get 2 victory points. If some of those flee, you end up getting 5 victory points. So that's a really strong secondary against some factions. Yeah, and remember the disgusting force on the mortar to make it a damage 3, especially if you can see something elite infantry with 3 wounds. Only, let's say, one command point. Now we might not start with so many command points, but if we have especially Taliban, we are getting 2-3 command points every battle round. So there is some room every turn to use, let's say, something like a disgusting force mortar, especially if your opponent has a castle. The Mephitic Blightholder down at 120 points, no weapon choices, a 24-inch range for the Meltas. This is the important, let's say, weapon. So we have it's basically an anti-vehicle armament. The Meltas, you have the missile can also shoot some frag weapons, but no, they are not so fantastic. AP strength 4, AP0, damage 1. The advantage of the Mephitic Blightholder, one strong point, is you can take it in a multiple unit. You can take 2 of them or 3 of them even. They have an inbuilt protection to be hit in melee, and best used with a combo of 2 if you want to benefit most from the belching fume stratagem that costs you 1 command point in that case. If you have 3, it costs 2 command points, and when an enemy shoots at them, you reduce the number of the shots that are incoming. This is especially good against let's say if there is something like a multi-melta with 2 shots, then they will only be shooting 1 shot each, the models firing at this unit. The disadvantage of the Mephitic Blightholder right now is the range is not super good, as it's not as strong as the Plagueburst Scroller, and it doesn't have so many plague weapons. Its melee weapon is a plague weapon, and at 12-inch it has also a plague weapon coming into play. But for fleeing vectors, and if you want to maximize plague weapons, then the Mephitic Blightholder isn't the best choice. And then the Foetid Bloatdrones, they are the fastest, let's say, of the bunch. 10-inch move, like the Mephitic Blightholder, but they can fly, so they can fly over obstacles and with Death Guard struggling to have some speed. I have been, with the new rules and the new points, been quite happy to use them to take hold of some objectives turn 1. They might be dying, but they still give you you get some space on the board and force your opponent to deal with them before your main Terminators and something like that comes up the board. The Foetid Bloatdrone with the speeders at 115 points. This is quite a good anti-infantry unit, and also very good for the fleeing vectors, because also it's every weapon that the Foetid Bloatdrones have is a plague weapon. That's really good. So you have the 2d6 shots for nice anti-infantry. You could be racking up models count for the fleeing vector secondary. AP-1 is suffering if you're playing against Armor of Contempt, but still with high volume of shots you could still score some hits. And it's an assault weapon, so you can advance. So you could fly 10-inch plus the d6 that you roll, and then you can still shoot, and then you can be on an objective. Remember also that it can be used, it's quite a good unit to use to Overwatch, because you have auto hit flamers. If something like an infantry try to tie you down, you can shoot them to Overwatch. You have some melee capabilities, and then it could be killing even more models. The Foetid Bloatdrone with the mower, very good, also 120 points now. It's a melee specialist with 12 attacks, damage 2, really strong against marine armies and elite infantry. And remember the stratagem that you can use to give a 6-inch heroic intervention for something that comes close to your Bloatdrone is not really careful, then you can make a heroic intervention. And then the Foetid Bloatdrone with the heavy blight launcher, 125 points only. This is the 6 shots from the heavy blight launcher. This is quite good against elite infantry and light vehicles. And now let's look at the damage comparisons. So if we look starting with the shooting at 24-inch, and this is point corrected per 100 points. Here we have all the Daemon Engines, and here we have a variety of targets, and here we have the expected damage, as I said, point corrected per 100 points. And here we can see a 24-inch range, the the best option for all targets is the Plague Scroller with the entropy cannon and the slugger cannon. Basically it has the same profile at 36 inches, so you can even stay further back with this profile. So this is the best choice. The yellow line is the Foetid Bloatdrone with a Blight Launcher, not as good per point, but quite good at something like Intercessors is equally good as the Plague Scroller, damage 2 models, and something like this. Not so good, of course, versus Disgusting Resilience troops like in a mirror match. And then we have the Plague Scroller with the Speeders and the volley gun. The speeders are not in effect, so basically here is the mortar and the volley gun, and then the gray is the Mephitic Blight Hauler. Okay against some vehicles, but it's not near as close to be like the Plague Scroller with the entropy and the sluggers, and of course the Foetid Bloatdrone with the speeders and the mower here. The mower drones, they don't have any damage at 24 inches. So comparing. So the clear winner here is the Plague Scroller with the entropy cannon. For example, damage to a predator tank. The Plague Scroller will be doing 6.5 wounds. The Mephitic Blight Hauler only 3 wounds, and the Foetid Bloatdrone with a launcher 3 wounds, so very equal here. Damage to a unit of intercessors. The Plague Scroller 5 wounds, if they can see them, of course. Mephitic Blight Hauler 2 wounds, and the Foetid Bloatdrone with a launcher 4 wounds. So Plague Scroller at range with entropy cannons is the clear winner. If we continue into 12-inch, here now the Plague Scroller with the speeders and the volley gun, the orange line, is a strong anti-infantry, of course, with its speeders and a high volume of shots. The Plague Scroller with the entropy and the slugger has basically the same damage profile at 12 inch as it had at 24 inch. Here the Mephitic Blight Hauler becomes better because we have the multi-meltas are d6 plus 2 damage, and also it can use its plague weapon, the Bile Spurt, but again not as good as the Plague Scroller with entropy cannon. The Blight Launcher Foetid Bloatdrone is unchanged, and here the Foetid Bloatdrone with the speeders, the green line, not super impressive, but okay against the chaffy type of infantry, and still the mower drone hasn't gotten off to do anything. But now let's go into melee damage per 100 points here, and now the light blue, here the mower goes bird and stuff die. So this is a very high damage output. Not so much in a mirror game, of course. Damage 2 weapons, not so good against Death Guard with Disgusting Resilience. So quite a lot of damage, especially something like Intercessors or something like this. Yeah, the mower drone is clearly the best choice in melee. Here we have the other Foetid Bloatdrones, so the Mephitic Blight Holders. They have basically the same profile down here, and then the Plague Scrollers in melee, they cannot do anything. Remember that when you have your units into melee and it's in engagement range and it's your turn, you can shoot the point blank damage, and then you can make use, especially if you have speeders and stuff like that. Auto hitting weapons are quite good at close range. So looking at the Daemon Engines durability, here we have a variety of weapons shooting or attacking our Daemon Engines. So here we see how many wounds does it take to kill one Plague Scroller. So it will take 24 bolter shots, assuming no rerolls and stuff like that or other rules like auto wounds and stuff like that. But just normal shooting here, it will take 324 shots to kill a Plague Scroller. So basically it's impervious to this type of fire. And here we have the low strength, low AP, low damage weapons. And here we come to the Dark Lances, Entropy Cannons, Melta Guns, such half range, etc. Still, the Plague Scroller takes quite a lot of, for example, it can take quite a lot of Last Cannon shots, Melta Gun shots, etc. The Meltas at half range, and let's say the Cognis Last Cannon and stuff like that is its most dangerous weapon, but still it can take quite a lot of shooting before a Plague Scroller gets taken out. The Foetid Bloatdrone and Mephitic Blight Holders, they have 9 wounds each. They take less number of shots to be killed, but still quite okay. And here we see something that's not a Daemon Engine, so it doesn't have a 5+ invul like a Rhino or a Predator. It's quite similar. So of course we are taking more damage here, and the Plague Scroller the most durable unit with toughness 8, armor of contempt, 5+ seedfall save, and disgusting resilience. So all in all, very durable for its points. So reaching to the overall comparison, here we are comparing now the Daemon Engines and some Contemptor, Defiler, and then I also calculated the Predator Annihilator with 2 extra last cannons that also has gotten a price decrease. And here we can see at the 24-inch shooting, we have the Plague Scroller now 445 points. This is the average damage output across all the targets you were seeing in the previous pages per 100 points. So here we see it's the highest damage dealer, even higher now than a Contemptor with a Twin Culverin. But of course the Contemptor is a core unit. It can be buffed by something like Talisman or rerolls, etc., and then it can get more damage per point. But still, the Contemptor now at 170 or 195 points and paying 1 command point, it's really tough to bring to a list. So Plague Scrollers again become maybe the #1 choice for shooting for Death Guard. At 12-inch range, we have the Plague Scroller with speeders and the volley gun. The only problem I have by playing this is that if your opponent tags it, yes, you can overwatch, you can shoot in point blank, but in melee we don't have so much damage, but still it could move up in the midfield and take some objective from your opponent. When we come into melee, we have the Foetid Bloatdrone with the mower. It has the highest damage per 100 point, and here some other combination, the Mephitic Blightholder, closer to the Plague Scroller at medium range, but not as good as the Plague Scroller. At point blank range, we have the speeders, the Plague Scroller with speeders, and the Mephitic Blightholder, and the Foetid Bloatdrone with speeders and the Blight Launcher. That's quite okay. And here we see finally here the durability, how many shots for the anti-infantry weapons we saw on the previous page on average, and then how many shots of the heavy weapons does it take. And here we have the Plague Scroller clearly taking more shots to kill 100 points of this unit, let's say. And if we compare to the Contemptors, if we compare with the Defiler, if we compare with the Predator Annihilator, the Daemon Engines, you can find better Daemon Engine choices than these other units. And as I said, the Contemptor with costing 1 command point and still costing 170, 195 points is going to be really tough to take in a list. So summary and final thoughts. Plague Scroller, I think, really benefiting from these point cuts. Very strong shooty choice with nice plague weapons for the fleeing vectors. It's our most durable unit. If you can, fire the mortar at something you see to avoid the hitting penalty. Remember the Disgusting Frost stratagem if you want to kill especially something with 3 wounds, or if it's a big castle and you want to spread a bit of mortal wounds around. The Foetid Bloatdrones, I think, also a winner from these point cuts, fast and cheap. And I've in the last couple of games have been using the Foetid Bloatdrone with the speeders. That's one of my, let's say, one unit I used before I collected a lot. I had a lot in my collection. I was using them quite a lot. And I think even if the damage is low, the speed and the versatility of it is quite good, because a more drone first turn you could advance it and come to some place, but then maybe they will be killed. The Foetid Bloatdrone with the speeders, you can advance, you can shoot at least something, and then if it's killed or something charges it, you can still overwatch and do something. So it seldom just dies without having done anything, and you can advance it and shoot. So a good thing here, with no penalty. And then especially for the mower drone, remember the strat to give it 6-inch heroic intervention if something is foolish enough to come 6-inch to your Foetid Bloatdrone. The Mephitic Blightholder is suffering a bit, in my opinion, from not having so many plague weapons. 120 points is quite good, but not as good shooting damage as the Plague Scroller. It has a nice role defensively, because your opponent can waste a lot of shots if you use your stratagems correctly. You can also make a multi-unit that's more survivable. So of course it will also have its usage. And as always, if we are bringing Epidemius in and summoning him, we can really buff our Daemon Engines, giving them rerolls and things like that, and until I believe until the next Demons Codex come out and maybe change the summoning. So this concludes the video. What are your thoughts about the new points for the Daemon Engines? I have been really happy taking them now with the low point costs, and they have done quite a lot of nice work in the game so far. Test games I've had. Let me know in your comments your thoughts. If you like this video, please press like and subscribe to my channel. If you want more information and see more data, you can watch some of the older videos where I go more into detail in the stats and buffs, etc. With other point costs, but you can get the picture there. If you want to further support my effort, please visit my Patreon page. And with these words, General Yanis is signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye bye.